This Padawan turned Jedi Knight has one of the most incredible and inspiring stories in the Star Wars universe, with his journey being full of action, adventure, and heart. Let's go back in time to the birth of Cal Kestis, or should we say Caleb Doom. Cal was born on the bustling planet of Coruscant during the height of the Galactic Republic. As a youngling, he was taken under the wing of Jedi Master Bilaba and began his training in the ways of the Force. But it wasn't all lightsabers and levitation for young Cal. The Jedi Order was facing dark times, and it wasn't long before Cal found himself caught in the middle of it. When Order 66 was executed, Cal's life was turned upside down. His beloved master, Bilaba, was killed right in front of him by clone troopers. Despite the difficult circumstances, Cal never forgot his training as a Jedi. He kept his skills sharp and used the Force whenever he could. But he knew he couldn't stay hidden forever. Eventually, fate would bring him face to face with a former Jedi named Sierra Junda, and his life would never be the same. So let's dive deeper into the whole biography. Order 66 was the ultimate betrayal for the Jedi Order. They trusted the clones they fought alongside, only to discover that they had been programmed to turn on them. For Cal, this meant watching his master, Bilaba, get gunned down before his very eyes. It was a traumatic event that would stay with him for the rest of his life. But Cal didn't let that trauma defeat him. Instead, he went into hiding and tried to make sense of what had happened. He knew he needed to stay under the radar to avoid the Empire's wrath, and that's how he ended up on the planet Braca, working as a scrapper. It wasn't an easy life for Cal. He was constantly looking over his shoulder and had to keep his Jedi powers hidden, but he never lost hope that someday he can make a difference in the galaxy. That's where Sierra Junda comes in. Sierra was a former Jedi who recognized Cal's Force abilities and asked for his help in finding a holocron that could potentially help the Jedi rebuild their order. And while Cal was initially hesitant, he ultimately decided to join her on this dangerous mission. So we see that while the Purge was a dark time for the Jedi, it also set Cal on a path towards his destiny. It gave him the motivation to fight for what was right and use his skills to help others. That's exactly what he did in the next chapters of his journey, becoming a Jedi. Now you must be thinking how Cal went from hiding on Braca to becoming a Jedi once again. Well, it was a long and difficult road, but Cal's determination and skills proved to be invaluable. When Sierra Junda approached Cal with the task of finding a holocron that could help him rebuild the Jedi Order, he was hesitant. He had been hiding for so long and didn't want to draw attention to himself. But Sierra saw something special in him and convinced him to join her on this mission. And thanks for the Force she did, because Cal's Jedi training kicked in and he was able to use the Force to save their lives on multiple occasions. His ability to sense danger and move quickly made him an asset to the team. But it wasn't just his physical abilities that made him a Jedi again. It was also his willingness to follow the Jedi Order and to help those in need. He showed compassion for those who were suffering and went out of his way to help them, even when it put him in danger. Through his actions, Cal proved that he was worthy of being a Jedi once again. He even went through the trial. He had faced his fears and doubts and emerged victorious. And so, with the help of his friends and his unwavering belief in the Jedi way, Cal became a true Jedi once again. He embraced his destiny and fought against the Empire, ultimately helping to save the galaxy from their grasp. After becoming a Jedi once again, Cal, Sierra, and their trusty droid BD-1 set out on a mission to retrieve the holocron that would help them rebuild the Jedi Order. But of course, it wasn't going to be easy. They had to travel to different planets, face off against dangerous creatures and stormtroopers, and even take on the Sith. And the highlight of this chapter, of course, when Cal and BD-1 had to work together to navigate a treacherous underground lair on the planet Dathomir. They encountered some creepy creature along the way, but their teamwork and quick thinking helped them make it through. And let's not forget about Cal's epic lightsaber battles. He faced off against some tough opponents, including the Ninth Sister and the Second Sister, both of whom were powerful Inquisitors trained to hunt down Jedi. But Cal's skills with a lightsaber were unmatched, and he was also able to take them down with the help of his friends. But it wasn't all serious business on this adventure. There were plenty of lighthearted moments too, like when BD-1 helped Cal overcome his fear of riding giant birds on the planet Kashyyyk. And let's not forget about that time when Cal had to climb a giant tree to retrieve a Wookiee's family photo. It was a silly moment, but it added some fun to the story. Though, through it all, Cal remained determined to complete his mission and help the Jedi Order, even when things got tough. And in the end, his effort paid off. Cal and his team were able to retrieve the holocron and deliver it to the group of surviving Jedi. Now, Cal Kestis may be a Jedi, but that doesn't mean he doesn't face his fair share of challenges. And just so you know, some of these are tough. One of the biggest challenges Cal faces is the Imperial Inquisitors. These guys are some of the most powerful forces users in the galaxy, and they're determined to track down and eliminate any Jedi they can find. Cal has to face off against these Inquisitors multiple times through his adventure, and each time is more intense than last. But Cal is no pushover. He's a skilled fighter and a clever strategist, and he's always finding new ways to outsmart his enemies. Another challenge Cal faces in his own past, and as we learned before, Cal survived Order 66 and went into hiding for years. As he learns more about the events that led to the Jedi Purge, he starts to question his own role in the galaxy's fate. It's a heavy burden to bear, but Cal faces head-on and ultimately comes to terms with his past. And of course, there are plenty of physical challenges as well. From navigating treacherous terrain to battling hordes of enemies, Cal has his work cut out for him. But with his lightsaber skills and Force abilities, he's more than up to the task. But perhaps the biggest challenge Cal faces is his own self-doubt. As a survivor of the Jedi Purge, Cal carries a heavy weight on his shoulders. He's lost friends and mentors, and he's not sure if he's up to the task of carrying their legacy. But through his journey, he learns to believe in himself and his abilities, and in the end, emerges as true hero of the galaxy. And that is the story of Cal Kestis, the Jedi who defied all odds and overcame unimaginable challenges to save the galaxy from darkness. He is truly a legend. But his story is just one of many in the vast universe of Star Wars, so tell us, what's your favorite Star Wars story? Who's your favorite character? Let us know in the comments below.